believed that Enoch was the inventor of writing, that he was the first to write. And remember, Enoch was revered as a prophet and a scribe, so he prophesied and he wrote. And tradition says that those writings were delivered ultimately to Noah and preserved through the flood. So is it possible that portions of First Enoch actually originate thousands of years ago? Maybe the very first writing ever conceived by the human species was written by the hand of Enoch. And that's why the contention here is, mostly from the secular world, that the Bible all of the stories in the Bible are just copies of the more ancient Mesopotamian texts. Well, sure, but what if the foundation for those stories goes all the way back to Enoch? Then everybody's copying Enoch, and everybody is a version of what Enoch wrote.
Right.
And it's very possible in my mind that the Hebrews have the most faithful rendition of what was of the oral traditions and in fact of the written compositions that came from the antediluvian world, which far predate the ancient Mesopotamians.
And Enoch was related to Noah, is that right?
Yes. Yes. I believe Enoch was his great-great-grandfather. Enoch was the father of Methuselah, who was the father of Lamech, who was the father of Noah.
Interesting. And yeah, in the Old Testament, you have the Methuselah, a lot of these guys lived for very long periods as well, which I think caused you to ask all sorts of
900 plus
questions.
years.
That's right. Yeah, it's so fascinating. Yeah. How is it found? How is the Book of Enoch discovered?
The Book of Enoch was preserved by the Ethiopians. And had the Ethiopians not preserved the Book of Enoch, we would not have it to this day, because it was clearly expunged from the scriptoriums of the Middle East and the West. There was controversy, a lot of controversy in the early church age over the Book of Enoch. Some of the early church fathers wanted to incorporate it into the canon. So there was a debate, an ongoing debate. That what cannot be denied is that the Book of Enoch is that the early church was conversant with what we call First Enoch today. Now, there's clearly a different manuscript in circulation, because some of the early church fathers cite the Book of Enoch, and they're citing portions of the Book of Enoch, which we don't have today.
Interesting.
In what we call First Enoch. But then they also cite portions which we do. So some of these early church fathers reference the Book of Enoch as scripture. In fact, around the 4th century AD, the Tawahedo Orthodox Christians and the Beta Israel Jewish community